Welcome back. I'm Kenny, and today we're talking about my first Magic deck. So after some looking back, going through my cards, and what I figured out, I think I started playing Magic in late 2012 because my first Magic deck was an intro deck. It was intro pack. It was Ordic, the Master Tactician intro pack that I bought for about $16. I had a friend from Scouts that was telling me about Magic, how I should play. So I went to my local game store with them, and his older brother taught me how to play Magic, and I've been playing ever since. I love it to death. So we're gonna go through kind of what was in that pack. So I played it bare bones the way it was for a little bit. Then I kind of figured out how to play Magic, and figured out I could buy better cards and put them in it. I did that. But here's kind of what was in the deck that when I first bought it. So it was the main card of the deck was Ordic Master Tactician. So great card. So he has first strike. He's a legendary creature. He's a human soldier, and then he says whenever Ordic Master Tactician and at least 3 other creatures attack, you choose which creatures block in this combat and how those creatures block. Great. He was by far the best card in the deck. Great. And then kind of the way the deck worked was I had cards like an instant somewhere where Captain's Call, which would put 3 1/1 creatures on the battlefield. So then I could attack with Ordic and those 1/1s, and then tell them it's like, nope, you block the 1/1s, or no, you don't block at all. And then we had Captain's Watch, which gave soldiers +1/+1. They had vigilance, so Ordic got bumped up. The 1/1s got bumped up, and I think there's some other soldiers. Where's the other soldier? I had another one in here. Where's the other soldier? There was another soldier. I knew it. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe I was mistaken. Okay, but yeah. So that's kind of, oh, there's right, Crusader, which was depending on how many creatures you controlled. So Crusader enjoyed having the 1/1s because it bumped her power up, because more 1/1s or more creatures on the field bumped up her power and toughness. So she enjoyed having more creatures on the field, and then so that I could swing with her and Ordic, and have Captain's Watch out, which would be pumped up as well. Then I could go, nope, you don't block, or or no, actually you block the 2/2s, and then I swing the big force with these, because at the time this was a standard deck, so I was playing standard at the time, because that's my LGS was playing, and that's how I got introduced to Magic, was through standard. And so this was the deck I was learned. Blue white. I more enjoyed the white than I did the blue, so I have not since then built any blue decks. I have decks that have blue in them, but when I build a deck, it really is gonna be like nowadays I more play white green. That's kind of what I enjoy playing, because that's what my cat deck is for a commander. The cat is a white green, and I kind of enjoyed that because I really like green. That's my favorite color. I like big creatures that have trample, so I love green. But there are some blue cards in here, like Arctic Aven. So it gets +1/+1 as long as you control planes, and then I have planes in here, so it would get pumped. Then we have another blue one, like Fairy Invaders, which had Flash. So that was a 3/3 with Flash that I could just go boop and throw them into the fray. They had flying, so then I just could just. And so then that one normally just didn't always get blocked. So it didn't matter if I had Ordic out or not. So had Sarah Angel. That was the big one. Flying Vigilance was great. So really how it would go, I would try. I don't want to get Ordic out. I don't want to have Sarah out. And then I would normally have my Chromatin. So I'd spend I have some lower creatures out just to get some creatures on the combat field, and then I'd have Chromatin, my artifact creature, on the side, just tapping him every turn, pumping him up, or getting him to a decent level, and then swinging with him. And then the goal would be to get a captain's call out, to get some 1/1s, have it Ordic out, start swinging, and then get Captain's Watch out, and then pump everything up so everything's bigger, and then I can start doing more damage per turn. That's kind of how this deck went. I wanted to get specific cards out at specific times, but the whole deck really revolved around Ordic. I really wanted him out so I could have 4 creatures swinging, and I could have him and 3 other creatures swinging, and I could make sure my damage is going through. So he's great. But over time, so I also had other things in here, like I had Wizard removal, like Divine Verdict, or Downpour attack creatures, and then I had Glorious Charge, which gave all creatures +1/+1. So I get all out swing, give everything +1/+1. My couldn't block it, so then I could just swing out and done, all like that. And then I also had ways of, like, I had Safe Passage. I had ways to prevent damage, so then I wouldn't take damage, like when I just swung out fully. So the way I played the deck, it kind of worked. So I enjoyed it for a long time. I played it for as long as I could, and then I made some changes. The first big change I got to the deck happened when I did I'm at my LGS at the time. 3 Fridays a night a week they did standard, and 1 Friday night a week they did booster draft. Well, I didn't know that, so I came in one night and they said, "Yeah, we're doing booster draft tonight." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that." So I spent the money, bought 3 packs, and did draft. And during that draft, so it was my first pack, picking it open, going, okay, picked a card, about to pass it. Guy to my left stopped me. He said, "No, you want this card," and pulled the card out and gave it to me. He's like, "No, keep this card." And at the time, it was here. Let me pull it up. It was Elsbeth, Sun's Champion. I pulled it from a booster pack from draft night, and she was the first card I added to the deck because I played it that night, won like 3 games, and realized how powerful she was and how well she paired with Ordric, because her +1 ability was create 3 1/1 white soldiers. So she went great in the deck, just off the bat, because white soldiers. And then suddenly Ordic, right there, just had soldiers, and could go and could start controlling combat. And then if I could keep just keep pumping her up, I could get her to her -7, give everything flying. It doesn't matter. Everything has flying and can go over. Or I could do the -3 and destroy all creatures with 4 better power if I'm going against a deck that has big creatures that I'm having trouble against. I can just go lay her down, go boop, they're all gone, and then there's that strategy, and then by then I know Elsbeth is gone next turn. But that was what I wanted to do, was to get rid of big stuff. So she was the first big thing I added to the deck, and I loved it. It was like super expensive card at the time. I think it was like 60 at the time when I pulled her, and it was like, yes, it was the best change I made to that deck. So, and then the rest of the cards I'm going to talk about are cards I I think that I added to the deck, but I'm not positive. It's been a few years, and I took that deck apart and put it into other decks or just dismantled it for stuff in it. Like the Elsbeth is now currently in my cat deck, my green white commander deck. So because I've loved Elsbeth, it's one of my favorite planeswalkers. I love it, but the love for it was definitely in my Ordric deck because of how well she paired with him. She did wonderfully. The two of them just they paired so well. And then with all the other cards, like if we go back and look, like things like Captain's Call, not Captain's Call, Captain of the Watch. So then all those 1/1s that Elsbeth just made are now pumped up, and then I can also throw out a Glorious Charge, make them all bigger for one turn, and start swinging. It was great. She did great things for the deck, and I loved it. I was so lucky to be able to pull her from my pack. But then, the next big change I made to the deck was I added a hundred-handed one. So I usually not often did I cast him for his monstrosity, but I usually had him for when I wanted to block things. So that was when, because I read him, I liked it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So I had him for when I needed to block a whole bunch of stuff, so then next turn I could all out swing, or so then I could like all out swing and then have a blocker that could block everything. As long as they didn't have trample, I wasn't too worried. But that's kind of what he was made for. So he's a fun one. I kind of loved it. That he's like, yeah, can block an additional 99 creatures each combat. I was like, that's a cool thing to have a creature do. So he's a staple I enjoyed having. I don't remember if I pulled him, if I got him as a prize or something. I forget how I got him, but I enjoyed having him. And then I also added a Glass Dust Hulk. I believe I did. This seems familiar to the deck. I think it was just to add another artifact creature because I really enjoyed Chromatin and how he worked because I just kept tapping and making him bigger, bigger, and bigger, and then I could go swing with him. So then usually I could have him and then throw out my Chromatins and make him bigger and then unblockable for a turn. So he was just like a like an experiment of like, let's try another artifact creature and see how it goes. Then we have Banshee Priest. So the version I got as a promo for a game night that I won. So I read it and I was like, ooh, I like this. It's a way of exiling a card that I don't like in my opponent's field. So I did my best to add it to my deck. So I took some stuff out and added it. So mine is, I might find the version I have and post it. So because mine's a promo one that looks really pretty and all foily. I love it. So I did that. That was a way of getting that was a way of removal because at the time my deck had a problem with getting rid of things. Like, I could attack well, I could block well, but getting rid of the things that my opponents had, it was not good at. So I kind of had to figure out how to do that. So if my opponent had something that had like a combo going, I needed a way to stop that so then I could get my combo going, or the way that, or however it went. So then next we added a Gale Powder Mage, because I was looking through cards and I thought that was another cool thing, another thing of exile. Yeah, it was just more of another interesting card that I'd found and decided to throw in the deck. And then I also added a bone scythe sliver. I think I also got this. I think I also won this. The one that won this during a match. It was my first ever sliver card. And I threw it in the deck. It made no sense to throw it in the deck, but I was picking white cards at the time, so I just kept putting in white cards. So it basically did nothing. It was just a 2/2 for 3 and a white. So it was basically a bad card to put in the deck. But I was still new to Magic, still new to deck building. But I was like, I liked how the card looked. It looked pretty. So I was like, I like how this looks. This looks badass. I'll put it in the deck. So I put it in the deck. So yeah. And then I put in a Cloud Shift. I don't remember why I put in a Cloud Shift. I think it was for something that had ETBs that I wanted to do again, but I don't remember. Maybe for the Captain of the Watch. Maybe then to give everything +1/+1 again. I don't really remember why I put Cloud Shift, but I do remember it being in the deck for some number of time. So I think as an experiment for I was trying something. So and then we had Daxos. So what did you do again? Whenever Daxos deals combat damage to a player, exile a top card of that player's library. You gain life equal to that. Okay, I think so. I think this is just another. I was looking at multicolored cards because I had been seeing other people use multicolored cards. So then I went through looking at. I'm like, okay, I'm a blue-white deck. What are some multicolored cards I can add to my deck? So this is one of the ones I added. So I think I liked that. You can be blocked by Third Grader, and then I had a way of getting life gain. So I added him. And then we added stuff like Dramatic Rescue, which was another way of getting life gain. And then we had Hussar Patrol, which had Vigilance and Flash. So he's a way that I could just throw in a creature whenever I needed to. But I think he was just another multicolored card because at the time I was big into, ooh, let's add these multicolored creatures because I don't have any multicolored creatures in my deck. Let's add them. So he was probably a result of that. When I was still this was in like the first few months of me still learning Magic, so I was still very new to the deck building. Going, well, this is cool. I want to put in my deck. Like, oh, this is a cool concept. I want to put in my deck. So it was a lot of experimenting, putting these things in my deck because they were new to me and I wanted to try them. So yeah, but he was a knight, so he didn't work. He honestly probably didn't work well with the rest of the deck when the rest of the deck was all the soldiers. So it's like I probably would have wanted more. If I was to add multicolored cards, I probably would have wanted to add more soldiers to get them pumped up. But and then we had Lavinia of the 10th, so I have protection from red. And then what does she say? When it enters the battlefield, obtain each non-land permanent your opponent controls with converted power 4 or less. Okay, I think this is my way of controlling the field. So then I didn't have to worry about what my opponent had, or if they had a problem, I could bring her out and deal with things. So that was another thing. Ah, yes. Medomia the Ageless. I played against the player that had this card, and the moment I saw it, I went and bought one. So he has flying, and then it says whenever he deals combat damage to a player, take an extra turn after this one. But he can't attack during those extra turns. And the way my deck worked, I could easily get him through to hit the player. So I easily got that second turn. And then if I had Ordric and this out and multiple creatures out, I could easily get that combat damage on that player and then win the game. So by far staples of the deck was the Midomia. Like some of the ones, like the cards I loved were the Ordric, the Elsbeth, the 100-handed one, and the Midomia. They really pulled their weight in this deck. Those four cards were really the heavy hitters, the ones that I wanted on the field to do things. Because I wanted Elsbeth to make the soldiers. I wanted Ordric out to control combat. I wanted the 100-handed one to be able to block things for me. And then I wanted Midomia out so I could hit the other player for combat damage, and then get the extra turn. So that's kind of how. Those are the big heavy hitters of the deck, the ones that the deck revolved around. Because I played against it and I was like, I want it. It's blue white. I'm putting it in my deck. I will figure out how to make it work, and I did. I made it work, but it was by far my favorite card. And then we had a Righteous Authority. So that one was just giving +1/+1 to a creature depending on how many cards I had in hand. So that was more of just pumping up a creature and then swinging. And then we had another Sphinx. I think this was me putting in more flyers, because I saw people using flyers against me. So I was putting in more flyers in the deck to deal with things. And I think I also liked that this worked, because it also affected if they attacked my Planeswalker, I could draw a card. Then it also affected the Righteous Authority, because I had card advantage. I had more cards, and that meant more +1/+1 counters onto creatures. I talk about this stuff now that I know Magic better, but I probably didn't think about this stuff at the time when I was adding these cards to the deck. I was probably going, "Oh, you're a multicolored card, you're flying, cool, put in a new deck." That's why I went. But now that I'm thinking about it, these probably work well together, or kind of work well together. Not the best. If I was ever to build this deck again, I'd probably make some changes to it, make it better, like add more soldiers, or add better soldiers to it, and then see how it works. Because some of these cards, like Glass Dust Hulk, should have never been in the deck. Like, why? Like, yeah, you're a multicolored card and you're an artifact creature, but you don't need to be in the deck. You serve no purpose. You're expensive, and you don't gain any of the benefits that the deck solves. You're not a soldier. You're not getting any of the +1/+1 counters. You're not creating more soldiers. Like, you're not really helpful. So there's that. And the last card I remember adding was New Prov Guild Mage. So this one gets some Gale flying. I think this one Gale flying, and then I could also detain target online permanent. So he was another cheap multicolored card that I added to the deck. This is probably during my big thing of adding multicolored cards. So I was looking for blue-white cards. I'm like, I like this, I don't like this. Ooh, I like this ability, and putting it in the deck, and then kind of making it work. Then I think it also worked with getting things flying. So then I didn't. So if I didn't have Ordric out, I could still get combat damage in by doing it with flying, if my opponent didn't have any flying creatures. So there's that. So this is kind of what I remember from my first Magic deck. It's been so many years since I've ever thought about this deck or ever looked at it. So I've kind of put it together a little bit. I need to add some lands to it. I need to find some other cards, because I looked through my collection, and I couldn't find some of the cards that were in this deck. So I'm like, ooh, I must have lost them over the years, or they're in other decks. So we'll see. So I'm gonna try to rebuild it, and then I'm gonna try to make it better, and then keep it as my casual deck to go, hey, you want to play some casual 60 card, and then have my first Magic deck as my casual deck. I was like, yeah, let's play a casual game of 60, and then see how it goes. But yeah, this was my first Magic deck. It's a hot mess. It has some good cards in it. It started off as a pre-built great deck, and then I just started adding, and then, and then me being new to Magic, I just started adding card after card after card to the deck because I was like, ooh, I want that, ooh, I want that, or I saw this card, or I saw somebody play this card, and I was like, I want that in my deck. It'll fit in my deck. I'll make it fit in my deck, and not really thinking about, does this meld well with my deck? Does this help the theme of my deck, which is getting 1/1 soldiers out, pumping them up, and then getting Ordric to control the field. No, then maybe I shouldn't put in the deck. So I know this now. At the time, I was still fairly new, and I was excited about cards, and I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and that's not always good. As you, but I won games. It did well until it was no longer standard legal, and then I had to build a new one. But at that time, my LGS switched over to Commander. Or no, I think I just played casually for the rest of the time because I love the deck so much. I stopped playing Standard because I don't know. I don't remember if I built a Standard. I might have built a Standard deck. It's been so long since I've played. I played Standard then that I don't even remember what decks I had. I remember my first Magic deck and my first Commander deck, but the time in between in between that, it's kind of blurry. I don't remember much. So, but yeah, that's about it. This is my first Magic deck. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next week with another video. See ya.